young people. Young people growing up in the world today, if the goal for them is to do less, to travel less, to be less, to have the smallest footprint possible, what can they actually do? What is their goal in their life? Is that the best we can do? To just be more efficient? And I met some people who were thinking very differently about this. They weren't thinking about doing a bit less bad. They were talking about doing things in a restorative way. They were talking about changing the entire system, not just playing around the edges. One of those was a Dutch CEO. And they make industrial carpet tiles in their company. They're not the sexiest of products, but those carpet tiles are very different, because those carpet tiles are made to be made again. So you rent them, you can buy them, but the manufacturer wants them back. So at the end of their life, they go back to the manufacturer. They put them through a machine, which takes them down to their two main constituents, the yarn on the top and the polyolefin of the base. They melt the base down, that becomes the base of the next carpet. The yarn goes back to their yarn supplier, who depolymerizes, repolymerizes, and then sends that yarn as new virgin yarn to them, repolymerized, so they can make the next carpet. Now, if they do that, using entirely renewable energy as they aim to do by 2020, that business model works in 1,000 years. Because that company knows its energy prices for the next 25 years, because they've invested in renewables, and they know the cost of their raw materials for the next 25 years, because they own them. It's an entirely different way of thinking, and that's a simple product. The same can apply to much more complicated products, like washing machines, like irons, like drills, because ultimately we want the service. We don't want to own a washing machine. We don't want to keep it in our kitchen and worship it. It does a job. And the manufacturer at the moment makes those machines to be as efficient as possible, and they don't last forever. They're not designed to. They're designed to be made with the minimum materials in them that will allow them to do the job. And the reason that manufacturer makes more money is when they sell you another one. But if you put that in the circular economy, you design a machine which is made to be made again, which you rent rather than buy, or maybe you buy 3,000 washes. It's in the interest of the manufacturer to make it repairable, to make it deconstructible, so in the design phase of that machine, they design it so that it is taken apart. It's the first line for the designers. We need this machine to be taken apart. We need to be able to recover the materials, and we need to put materials in it which we can infinitely cycle without degrading their quality. And that's technical. So imagine a world with technical nutrients which cycle, and also biological nutrients which cycle. Now, we all hear of composting, and we all hear of the fact that we can compost biological waste. But some of the facts and figures are quite staggering. This actually is a biological composter in Haiti, whereby it creates sanitation, it creates gas, it creates employment, it creates clean water, it grows fish, and it creates fertilizer for farms in the region. That creates natural and social capital. It's the only system to have survived the earthquakes, and it works. Now imagine that is a very basic system in Haiti, but what if we did that on a grand scale? And what if we did that on a grand scale with redesign involved? Because currently when we think about products, we think about things like waste, we think about plastic bags. Think of this is actually a plastic bag, but it's not plastic. This in our bin, if it were plastic, would be a negative thing because it's designed to be used once. This bag is entirely biodegradable, non-toxic and compostable. In fact, I could eat it if I wanted, which I'm not going to do now. If your bin was full of these, that would be a bin of value. Because the principle of the circular economy is to design out waste. When you throw something away and it is waste, where is away? We don't want an away. We want the value. This has value. So if you redesign not only our systems for recovering waste, but we also redesign all the packaging that we use once for 5 minutes or 2 hours or 3 weeks, but doesn't need to be made to design to last for 3,000 years, if that goes back into a cycle, then you not only have a problem as problem solved, you actually have something of value. And half the world is fed using phosphorus that's dug out of the ground. We need these nutrients back so that we can feed ourselves. So there you see the technical cycle and the biological cycle together. And what's interesting is with that biological cycle, when you show young people this plastic bag, they are creative. They see a future not only that works, but they see a future which is able to build capital. And when they see examples like aeroplane seats, which are designed out of a fabric which you could eat and is totally non-toxic and totally compostable, then they think of different ways they could design everything. And one principle of this is this needs to be powered using renewable energy, just like the carpet manufacturer. Powered using energy that we can count on for the long term. And that, of course, like the design of the materials itself, involves a systems level change. And I'd like to show you a very short video which describes the circular economy in 3 minutes. And it's taking that linear system of take, make and dispose to be the circular economy with 2 types of nutrients.
Living system